my name is Perry Small, and you're listening to Midday Madness. This year, we started that What's Your Story, where you're just living your life as a black person in America, and somebody decides to get in your business and cause you all kind of problems and potentially getting you killed because 911 has been called on you. Just black people living their lives. And we did that What's Your Story. And you know what? I'm not going to say that it's died down, that people don't do it anymore, but I think some people got the message that you can't just call the police on folks who are just minding their own business. And I've got a guest who had a situation like that a couple of years ago. And he actually did something about it. We've seen all kinds of issues, calling police on kids selling water, a phone, using a phone in a hotel lobby, having a picnic, trying to cash a check at a bank, babysitting white children, because they think that you kidnapped them, mowing lawns, eating at the subway, entering their own apartment buildings. Well, let me tell you, Oregon did something magnanimous, in my opinion. The Oregon Senate passed a bill punishing racist 911 callers. And it's going to take that kind of work from legislatures around the country to stop this. Because guess what? When you call the police on black men, black children, black women, we could potentially be dead. Almost a year after Oregon State Representative Janelle Bynum's story of being questioned by police after a 911 call on her as she campaigned in her district went viral and sparked the hashtag campaigning while black, Oregon State senators actually passed a bill that would allow the victims of frivolous, discriminatory 911 calls to sue the callers. I think it is a fantastic idea. On Monday, the Oregon State Senate passed House Bill 3216, a measure introduced by the state's 3 black Democratic legislators. They have 3. Including Bynum. The bill allows victims of these calls to sue a 911 caller for as much as $250 if the victim can prove that the 911 call was racially motivated and that the caller intended to discriminate or harm the reputation of the victim. Joining me in the studio is Ernest Krim III.
Can't forget the third.
the third. And Ernest Krim and his wife had a situation that he's going to remind us about right now, that he thinks that this was sort of what was going on in his life. And Ernest has actually been a guest commentator a couple of times, and a couple of years ago he was telling me that he actually, sat in, did some co-hosting and that sort of thing. So welcome home.
Well, thanks for having me, Perry. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here.
Your locks
actually.
are awesome.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been almost 2 years.
Really? They're awesome.
And I feel like I started the process after this incident happened. I needed a new spiritual awakening, if you feel what I mean.
Okay, I got you. And remind our listeners what exactly happened to you and your wife.
Okay, so again, this was actually the summer of 2016. Now, it seems so long ago. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I, we went to the South Shore Cultural Center for the Margarita Festival. And this was July 30th. To me, that's like a day where I feel like I had to come out of my shell as a person and as an educator too. It was something that changed my life forever. So we waited in line for like over an hour to get into this festival. We're having a great time. It's just a great, just a great ambiance, everything. And one of the first things I think that's connected to this bigger issue is, as black people, we're not even sometimes safe in spaces where we're the majority. And sometimes you're reminded that you're the majority in that space, but the minority in the entire country, and how this system of racism works.
Because it's called white privilege.
Exactly. So we're minding our business, and towards the end of the event, me being a fairly tall gentleman, mm-hmm. My wife is kind of short, so I noticed there was an open beanbag game, and they call this beanbag game cornhole, which I had no idea at that time. So we go over there to play the game.
You're at a margarita festival. Wow.
Right. So we go over there to play the game, and we noticed it was open, but there were only a couple bean bags for the game, only one exactly. Mm-hmm. And the group next to us had several. I'm thinking like 10, 15, 20, something like that.
Right.
So, I'm trying to look for extra bags, and I noticed that There weren't any, and I'm looking at them, and I try to play it off like, well, maybe they'll see that I'm looking for these bags, and then maybe they'll offer some. It didn't happen. So it didn't happen. So my wife is like, you know what, maybe let's just chill. I'm like, nah, we can go over there and ask. And lo and behold, the group next to us, so it's 2 whites and it was 2 black people, they threw one of the bags extremely far. And we waited for a little bit, and nobody went to get it. So my wife went to retrieve it at that point because, you know, it's open, it's fair game. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And my thing is, we all paid to get into this venue, and it's almost like you at a gym or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we all paid this open access to everybody. So she goes to grab it, and as soon as she grabs it, this white woman, like, darts towards us. She was walking so fast, Perry. You ever see like some people out there jogging, and it's almost like they ain't fully jogging. They got the power walk going on. So that was her, and it was almost as if she had targeted us from the moment we went over there. And she came over there and was like, "That's our bag," and you know, I'm from the South Side, Perry. I don't get down like that. No disrespect is tolerated. So I'm like, nah, you're not getting this bag back. And then that escalated. And it's just her. The 3 other people she's with, they're minding their business. And then she calls my wife for HO. I don't know if we can say that stuff on here, but she says that. And it's really like, nah, we were maybe considering it, but you're definitely not getting it back now. So just chill, mind your business. And then that continues to escalate. And mind you, this young lady, you know, was younger than us. I was 28 at the time. She was a few years younger. So then she says, well, y'all are a bunch of N-words, you know. And I was just like wait, what? Like over
was
this?
Was that the first time you'd ever been called the N-word?
Directly to my face. I have in passing before somebody in the car when I was at U of I, but nobody directly to my face, you know. And of course you have YouTube comments too. It still happens to this day. But so in the meantime, in the midst of that, in connection to this story, she begins to gesture to the armed security guards who are off-duty CPD to come over towards us, which is completely outrageous. So it's like, you approached us in this manner, hostile, and you are expecting the cops to come over here and do something to help you out.
And you called you out of your name.
Called us out of our name, yeah. And at that point, too, I took out my phone. Again, I'm a millennial, and I'm addicted to documenting everything. And I'm like, I can't believe this lady's actually saying this. Nobody's going to believe it. It's not against the law, but in the court of public opinion, people can decide what they want to do once I post it. So I took it out to record the interaction. And you know, she was calling over for the cops. She knocks the phone out my hand. Yeah, knocks the phone out.
That's assault.
Oh, that's assault. Oh, yeah, I know my laws. I know. I'm a history teacher, Perry. So I went to go pick up the phone. I didn't know if it was still recording. So I pressed stop, press it again. And I'm like, okay, everything you just said, please say it again because I want to document this. And she does. And I'm like, oh, this woman is just amazing. Thank you. So I'm like, hey, give me your name too. Give me your address, all of that. She didn't go that far, but she gets so frustrated. She starts to walk away and she turns and she spits at me and my wife. And it gets on us. Mainly my wife. Yeah. And as you can imagine, so at that point, the phone dropped.
And she lived?
Oh, yeah, she lived. Well, let me tell you.
Let me tell you the worst thing. I'm going to tell you. The worst thing you can do to a person is spit on them. And that's why when Eric Trump was spat on at the aviary the other day, yeah, I probably would want to kick him between the legs or spit on him too, but that is the ultimate
most disgusting thing.
Most disgusting, disrespectful, uncivilized thing that you can do to a person.
Yeah, because it's like, really,
how do you spit on? And I'm telling you guys, spitting, if you spit on someone, that is considered in the law assault. And as a matter of fact, Lori Lightfoot addressed that yesterday when she was in Bronzeville and said the exact same thing. You can't do that.
Yep.
Were you disgusted?
Oh, of course. And it was at that point, so many things go through your head, and it's one of those things
where...
Well,
what was going through your head as she spat on you?
The first reaction was, did this really happen? And of course, the second thought is, me being a person that's very conscious of my place in this country and my overall history as a black man, I can make a decision now that can determine the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
And I have kids at home. I have students that look up to me. I value my heritage and who I am.
And your freedom.
And my freedom. And understanding that she was trying to call the cops over there priorly, it's like, yo, if I do something, and me being a man, not just that, a black man who's a lot larger than her.
Man, you're gonna be shot.
Yeah, and in the video, I even said, now, what happens if I do something to you? You already know. That's why you're trying to antagonize me and entice me. So it's like a split second. Everything I knew about my history came to fruition, and I'm like, I can't do it right now. And it took everything in me, and not just me, my wife too. We're both educators. We both got a lot going for us. So it's like, this ain't the place to do it.
So wait till you hear, guys, what exactly happened. Call 312-374-8130. Oh, Ernest got the last, and his wife, they got the last laugh on this one. We'll tell you how. Chris and Harold, if you're still online and want to comment on this, you are free to do so. The telephone number again is 312-374-8130. We'll be right back.
More conversation.
Oh, you tell a good story. Where do you teach?
I teach in Joliet Central. My wife is at Joliet West. Yeah, so we been out there for going on 8 years now. I taught 2 years out here. I just didn't have a residency requirement too, so that was a big factor. Yeah.
Have you been living out? That's where you guys are from, that area?
My wife is from Joliet. I'm from Southside. I went to Morgan Park.
Oh, okay.
I just needed a different scenery.
Okay.
You know, I've been living in Chicago my whole life. I needed something a little bit slower.
You got used to when you were high.
Yeah, exactly.
You got used to that lifestyle when you were high.
I needed something that was a little bit slower. I can have access to the city still, and you know, I love coming back though. But it's like as soon as I get stuck in traffic, I'm like,
yeah, I got you.
Creating a cult-like following and delivering a string of hits from the mothership. Songs like Mothership Connection, Flashlight, One Nation Under a Groove, and Atomic Dog delivered a signature sound for Clinton. It was a new type of funk that found Clinton performing with a number of groups that he created, including Parliament,
Yo, what's up, y'all?
Funkadelics, and he collaborated
like I'm
with
still
Music
waking up.
Gods on his string of hits. More than 30 years later, Clinton is still
If y'all get a chance, if y'all
delivering
listening,
wildest stage shows
go ahead and
that
call in,
continues
too.
to please concert goers.
I guess I should know the number.
Getting his just dues. He'll be receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Grammy.
Oh yeah, Stephanie, I definitely do. I taught government a couple years too. That's like the lowest level. I'm going to law school, but
presented by Ravinia Summer Festival and co-sponsored by Wintrust Financial.
Hello, I'm Melvin Massey. And I'm Howard Robertson, and we're excited that Riffin' on Jazz is here in Chicago.
As Riffin' on Jazz is your weekly visit with friends talking about jazz, the music that we love.
We're here on 1690 WVON, taking a deep dive into the jazz music and the jazz artists that you love every weekend.
Riffin' on Jazz, Saturday nights.
hey, do me a favor too. Make sure y'all share this.
On the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
WVON, traffic and weather, now.
Still down to that 21-minute trip along the Ryan from 95th Street to downtown. I thought just fine. You're also moving along at the closest speed on the Bishop Tower, Tuskegee and Memorial and Lakeshore Driving Way. Hot and muggy, temperatures climbing near 90. We are looking at a 30% chance of showers into the thunderstorms tonight at 68. We're looking at 78 right now in Kenwood. Just rolls back a degree at O'Hare, 79. And 78 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at Chicago. I'm in it on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
The WVON lineup, chat room, blogs, photos, podcasts, and more on the World Wide Web at WVON.com.
Loving the new studio too.
Oh, you like it
Have you
over
got
there?
used to it?
Yeah, I have a driver. I don't drive that. Oh, guys, innovator George Clinton is regarded, along with James Brown and Sly Stone, as one of the foremost innovators of funk music. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997, and in 2019, he and Parliament Funkadelic were given the Grammy Lifetime. Oh no, in 2020 they're going to be given the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award this summer. Isn't that awesome?
Oh, well deserved.
Well deserved. This is my soundtrack of my life. Oh, it sure is. 10:52 on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. We've been talking to Ernest Krim III, and we were talking about how Oregon Senate passed a bill punishing racist 911 callers. And so Ernest was telling us an incident that happened at the Margarita Fest where he and his wife were spat on. Ooh, that's the nastiest thing you can do to a person. So tell our listeners what happened.
All right. So after this happens, and again, something I guess I should reiterate too is I've done a lot of stuff in my past that was, getting involved in fights and physical interactions. So I've had that type of lifestyle, and I felt like at that point in my life that was something that wasn't the best. And when that incident happened, I'm thinking, Perry, 100 years in the future. So I'm thinking, how was this going to be looked at when people look back throughout the course of history? In the course of my kids not being there, they were only 3 and 1 at the time. My mindset is one day I'll have to explain to them what happened. I'll have to explain to them this whole process. So
why you've been in prison for 25 years.
Exactly. And at the same time, we tell our kids, we tell our students, don't do this, don't do that. And I'm supposed to be a role model.
That's
so
right.
This is 20-something years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
I had gotten all the fighting out of my system a lot younger. So the first thing after that was the next day, I went to the police station right around my old high school. Shout out to Morgan Park. And in the midst of that, I sent this video to every media outlet. I posted it online because we wanted her information.
Everybody saw it.
Yeah, and I knew my rights. And that's the thing, too. A lot of us, I felt content in my decision, although it was frustrating because I know so much about my history and myself. So it wasn't that frustrating when you think about the bigger picture. And it was a year-long fight just to get
what
justice.
did you do? So after you went to the police department and it went viral.
Right.
Everybody saw it.
Yeah.
Did the state's attorney's office contact you?
Yeah, we were contacted. It took a while. I don't think they were expecting me to come to the police station about that. The looks they had on their face was kind of like, really, dude? But it was like, they gave me a sheet of paper and said somebody will contact me. I didn't accept that. Again, I was on summer break too as a teacher, so I'm contacting them every day. Who is this guy? Where's the detective? Eventually we got in contact, and it took about 2.5 months just to get her arrested. But all the information we got came from people online.
Because you were pressing charges.
Oh yeah, that's what we were on.
For assault.
Yeah, I was fighting back, just not physically. And a hate crime too.
And a hate crime. You took it to a different level.
That's what we
because all you have to do is use a racial epithet, and that is considered a hate crime.
Right.
Unfortunately, they can't figure out hate crimes when they happen to us. When it happens to us, well, we've got to investigate whether that was a hate crime.
Yeah.
So then what happened?
So here's the thing, Perry. So after we get her arrested, this was like October of 2016. She bonds out. We had different media outlets contacting us. And the thing we just wanted to make sure was that we took this to the furthest extent. I'm a person that's about persistence, dedication, not about immediate gratification. I know if I kept going every single day as hard as I could, then I would get what I wanted. And they told me throughout this process that it's not likely. They said it's not likely she'll even get anything, but we're going to press these charges anyway. In my mind, the God I know, I'm like, nah, she's getting something.
So what happened? So
eventually we're in October of 2017 now, and we go to court. And they tell me that it's never really been a situation where, a white woman assaults a black man and she gets any time like that, especially for spitting. So they were like, brace yourself. She's probably just going to get, a community service, something like that, something light.
Right.
Again, in my mind, I'm like, I didn't withhold all that aggression I had and frustration to just sit here, and she just walks away with that. In my mind, that day, I told myself I'm not leaving unless she gets some type of jail time.
Was she charged with a misdemeanor?
So this is what happened. So the judge, who they said always just kind of splits the baby down the middle, is what they say. He dropped the hate crime charge, which I want to connect to this story you were talking about, and kept the assault. So she got 90 days. He said they could not prove with the hate crime charge that she came there with the intent of doing what she did that day. You
don't have to come into the situation with the intent.
And that's what
because if you kill somebody, and you say, or she would have killed you, called you a nigger, and killed you, that would have been a hate crime. She came there to get drunk off margaritas.
Oh yeah,
but if there was, and came to a black community.
Yep, South Shore. But it's the thing too. Like we know with these presidents, these legal precedents that come from judges, that they're not always valid. Going back to Dred Scott's case, you know what I'm saying? So I looked at it like, he felt he couldn't really understand how I felt, so he felt it wasn't necessary to give her at least a year, which is completely ludicrous in my
Because
opinion.
that's her privilege.
Exactly.
If you would have said one thing, you would have said, "Okay, you white bee." Do you know how much time you'd be doing right now?
But think about this law in Oregon. They're saying that you have to be able to prove that they called on you specifically because you're black. Now, how can you prove that unless that person is outwardly just saying this N-word?
But you had the video.
I had the video. I had everything. I came to court with all the evidence. I just needed them to.
Who was your attorney?
So the assistant state's attorney.
Oh, you had a state's attorney. Okay.
So it was a state's case.
Okay.
So it was,
State
states versus Jessica Lynn Sanders. That's her name.
Jessica Lynn. Isn't that special? Her name could have easily been Becky. It is 10:58. She could have easily have been Barbecue Becky or Permit Patty or Pool Patrol Paula.
So many names.
All
so
of
many
them.
names.
That's awesome.
And this time she got jail time though. So.
And she got how many days?
She had 90 days. Yeah, she served a little time too.
I really like the idea that this white woman was in county jail for 90 days.
Do you know how gratifying it was to see the newspaper the next day and to see a black man and a white woman and I wasn't the suspect?
Right.
Like I showed my students that, like, y'all realize how historic this is?
Oh, and you shared it with your students.
Yeah, I'm a history teacher. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You need to move back into Chicago and teach these little urchins here. It is 10:59 of the Talk of Chicago. Thank you so much, Ernest.
Thanks for having me.
And I hope that you come back again when I'm not here and you just do your own show. 10:59. Stay with us. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I live for this stuff.
I know.
All right, I appreciate y'all tuning in.
Thank you.